So I had a friend recently ask me, how can I be my authentic self, my higher self? And I looked at him and I said, I've known you quite a while and you may not realize that you're in touch with your higher self, but you are one of the few people I know that may not practice meditation or any of that stuff or even be in a spiritual woo-woo circle, but you are already an authentic person. And he said, oh, like, what do you mean? Like how? And I said, because you make wise decisions. When you decide to do something, you actually think it out. You actually calculate it out. You don't just go right off the bat with it. I've seen this man in situations that, most would reply back with yelling and screaming. I've seen him in calm, cool, collective positions where even if he was to use something right off his gut feeling, he might still be right, but he does think it out. And he's like, well, is that really being authentic? I said, yeah, that's integrity. That's being your authentic self. I mean, you're actually taking the time to listen and to think about all the consequences of your decision. Now, I've said in other real talks and videos that, obviously you can't sit there and every single decision you're going to make throughout the day, you can't sit down and write out all the possible outcomes of that decision. But by doing what he does, what I try to do, what most of us should definitely try to do is foresee what that decision may lead to. And that's one of the biggest things that I can recommend to people is that, when you're on this path, on this walk, you have to start looking at your decision making. It's not about how you meditate. It's not about how many mantras you do, how many videos you watch, how many books you buy. It's not about any of that stuff. It all starts with, for one, realizing the observer and that there isn't one, but also realizing that by being the observer, it's kind of a catch-22. I just said there is no observer, but watch the recent video and you'll get what I'm trying to get at. But by observing your thoughts and your decision patterns and how you decide on things, you can become more authentic or more higher self or whatever the label is that you decide to use. Because, yeah, you definitely want to figure out that observer part. You definitely want to stop thinking about your past and try to start living in the now and not worrying too much about your future either. But this decision thing, this authentic decision-making thing is what helps you not worry about your future. Now, again, I'm not saying sit there and go, oh, well, what's going to happen if I do this? What's going to happen in 10 years? Some of those, if you're buying a house or you're buying a car or you're planning on having a baby or something like that, then yeah, definitely sit down and think about that stuff no matter how long it takes you. I can tell you from experience that is something that you definitely want to sit down and think about. If it's something that's not generally going to affect you or worse, affect another person with an immediate future, then just go ahead and think about it real quick and make the right choice. I'd say that the biggest thing that I'm pleased about being in touch with my higher self is my conviction. And I get my conviction being not guilt, but conviction. My conviction being I make a decision to do something, whether I say something or I act on something, and I do it knowing as I'm doing it that it was probably the bad decision to do. And then either immediately afterwards or further down the road, my higher self convicts me in a very pleasant, gentle way. Not like, oh, you're an idiot. Oh, you shouldn't have done that. More of a, hey, man, you know that was probably not the wisest choice, and it's probably going to have repercussions. We should definitely think this out before we make a decision like that again. That is a beautiful thing. That conviction is a beautiful thing. And I know the difference between that conviction and guilt because I don't want to throw anybody into the bus or any one group, but being a Christian long enough to know that, it wasn't conviction, it was guilt that I would feel. And if anybody taught me what conviction was, it was Jesus. And not so much by what a Christian may tell you that conviction comes from, like the Spirit, the Holy Ghost, whatever, which is fine. It may even be that. I don't know. Maybe I still have the Holy Ghost. I have no idea. I believe the Holy Ghost is the higher self, so it really wouldn't make a difference either way. But what I'm getting at is that conviction is different than any other thing. And I'm not just saying it's a Christianity thing, because anybody can feel guilty. Anybody can make a decision. We're all here right now. We're all watching or listening because most of us have had that voice in the back of our head telling us we're not worthy, or we've made a wrong choice, or blah, blah. But aim for a goal of that conviction, and aim for a goal of actually thinking things out, and you'll start to see that authenticity within your life. Like, I told him all this, and he just didn't see it. I said, Roger, honestly, man, I've known you for like 12 years. You're a really, really good dude. I mean, you're a good guy. You help people out. Yeah, you made some mistakes along the way. We all have made mistakes along the way, and that's the whole purpose, as far as I'm concerned, as far as my opinion goes. The whole purpose is to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. And if I can say to any of my friends, my close personal friends, that they have learned from their mistakes and have not repeated that again, it is definitely you, brother. And it took him a moment, but he was like, and it was funny because he's very humble and very meek, and that's why I love him, because I try to do that. I strive to be that way myself. And he said, well, I appreciate what you're saying, but I just, I don't 100% feel it. And that's just what we all are. We all have that, I'm not worthy built into us. Some people have way too much I am worthy, but that's just ego. I think he got it, but he just didn't see it. And you probably don't see it either. But I want you to recognize it. I want you to realize, what was the last big decision you made that worked out in your favor, that worked out for somebody else's favor? Realize that was a step in the right direction. And I'm not saying go out there and be like, oh, I'm the man, because I made that right choice. But recognize that you did something right for yourself or for others. And there's nothing wrong with being happy about it. There's nothing wrong with, saying, hey, good job. I feel that a lot of friends like Roger, a lot of people I know, and even myself, I do something good and I say, well, don't try to I'm not trying to make brownie points. Don't get too happy about it, and it's that humbleness. It's that meekness. But at the same time, you can still love yourself and be proud of yourself for making a right choice. What I'm saying is, if you're asking yourself, am I authentic? Am I in touch with my higher self? All you really have to do is take any decision that you're about to make and just say, well, let's weigh out the facts and let's see what's going to work. If you do it and you don't feel or hear or notice anything in your decision making, then maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you're not ready. If you're just acting off the gut, if you're acting off, and see, a lot of people will tell you, well, the gut is your intuition and you should go with your intuition. That's not true. Your gut is a gut feeling, which means that it's something spontaneous that you're angry, somebody yells at you, boom, you turn around, you yell back. That's your gut, okay? That's allowing your emotions to control the situation. You don't want your emotions to run that game, especially if it has anything to do with anger and like that. Stop, take a breath. And I know it's hard, folks. Trust me. I know it's hard. But stop and take a breath. Don't let your emotions control that situation. Allow your intuition and your authenticity in your own self and your own mind, your own heart. Let that take control of it. Recognize it. Observe what's going on and realize that you don't have to reply with emotion. Now, I'd say everybody has intuition. I mean, I've never really met anybody that's like, I've met plenty of people that don't know how to use intuition. But like I said earlier, I said the Holy Ghost to me is probably the higher self, which is what I believe. I also believe that your intuition is built off your higher self. I honestly believe that your intuition is your higher self. That's my opinion. Take what resonates. But go into that. Next time you're making a decision, just think about it. And just say, hey, I mean, it could be whether or not you're going to eat Jell-O or Greek yogurt. I know it's silly, but ask yourself, is the Jell-O good for me or is the Greek yogurt good for me? And don't be the decision maker. Just sit there and observe the decision process, and you'll see exactly what I mean. And you'll find out that you can be just as quote-unquote authentic or in touch with your higher self as Roger could be. I've said it before, and I'll say it a million times, and plenty of people have called me out on it, and plenty of people have called others out on it, but there's no big secret to this thing. There really isn't any book or mantra or chakra or yogi or standing on your head backwards or, doing mushrooms or anything like that to get in touch with your higher self. You don't have to do any of that. It's always there. It's always waiting for you. It's always willing to help you. And you can do it by these little small examples, exercises. I know that everybody would like to think that it's out there somewhere and you have to find it. I know that that's why we're all seeking, but it's not. It can easily be found just by saying, hey, can you help me with this decision that I have to make? And observe what happens. Anyways, peace, love, and chicken grease. I love you all. Walk in light.
Until next time, my friends, I ask all people everywhere to plant seeds of love, peace, joy, and oneness.